Did you notice that Trello snuck a little update into your boards this week? Well, let's talk about what it is, what it isn't, and why I'm not really sure if I'm going to use it or not. But before we dive into this, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so that you never miss a tutorial or upload. Okay, so what did they add? They added in a recurring task kind of drop down. So when you go in to set a due date or even a start date on your card, you're going to notice that above the spot where you can set your reminders, there's now a recurring drop down. And this gives you the ability to set things up on a recurring basis of daily, weekly. You can do a couple of different things every couple of weeks on a specific day of the month, stuff like that. It's pretty cool. So how is this different from their card repeater power up? And why do I keep showing you how to set up automation workflows for recurring tasks when there are power ups and now this new recurring option available? Well, let's talk about that. So first off, the card repeater power up that Trello has had available for a while now. The reason why I don't personally use that, well, actually, there's a couple of reasons. One of the reasons that I don't use the card repeater power up is because it's not fully available to me on the mobile app. I am a big proponent of using the mobile app for things. I work from just about anywhere. Plus, I also use Trello to help me remember things in my personal life. So I need all of the functionality that I create to be able to work from the mobile app as well as from the desktop. So because most power-ups, with I think the exception of dash cards, have no functionality that exists or very little when you're interacting on the mobile app, I tend to shy away from most of them anyway. But the other reason why I'm not a big fan of the card repeater power up is because it actually creates a new copy of the card for each repetition, as opposed to just resetting the due date. Now, there are a lot of pros and cons on both sides. Obviously, if you're somebody who likes to see your historical data, I could see why you might think that that card being copied again so that your one that's on your completed list or archived or however you handle your completed tasks is still there, but then you have your new card. Well, I've got a workaround for that. We actually talked about it recently in my Trello Tuesdays newsletter, and there will probably be a new tutorial here about this soon as well, where you use cross-board automations in order to give yourself that historical data, but keep your primary boards clean and clutter-free. So I'm a big fan of that. So when you use something like the card repeater power-up, it's generating new cards every time, and that just means a whole bunch more that can get cluttery and stuck all over your board. I'm just not a fan. That may be the way that you prefer to do things, though, and so then that card repeater power-up is maybe a good option for you. The thing is, though, this new recurring dropdown, it doesn't seem to behave in the same way that the card repeater power-up does. It's actually more along my line of thinking. It simply moves the due date out so that it repeats itself as a card as opposed to creating a copy. So if you've been used to the card repeater power-up where it gives you a fresh card every time, well, then this new dropdown isn't really going to replicate that for you. You're still going to be using the power-up. But why would I say that I might not be using it for myself? Honestly, I think right now I probably won't be using it for myself because it doesn't seem like this dropdown has migrated its way over to the mobile app. Again, it all comes down to the mobile app for me. When I set up my automation workflows for recurring tasks, you'll notice that the conditions that I use to set those up typically are using labels. I'll add a recurring label, and then I always have a label for the frequency, whether it's weekly, daily, monthly, quarterly, you get the picture, right? And so if I'm on my mobile app and I add a new task, I can add that label and it will automatically get picked up by my automation workflows. Whereas even using this new dropdown, you'd have to set up that recurrence from desktop. Again, doesn't sound like a huge deal. And if you're somebody that is primarily using the desktop version of Trello, then this isn't a big deal for you. You may love this new recurrence. And honestly, I'll probably use it a little bit just to see if it really outweighs the ability to add that on mobile for me or not. And honestly, they might start moving that over to mobile soon anyway. This may just be the beginning of the rollout of this update. And so I may be totally changing my tune in the future, but basically those are the differences. Card repeater power up is creating a fresh card every time. This new recurring dropdown is simply moving the due date. So you may need to look at some of your automation workflows for what happens with completed cards if you're going to use this new dropdown for your recurrences. And then the tried and true option, which I still use today, which is using the automation workflows, using things like labels and or lists to indicate the frequency of the recurrence, and then a label for indicating this card is a recurring task. So I'm curious though, are you excited about this new dropdown? Had you noticed it before you saw this video? And if you hadn't, are you going to use it? Let me know in the comments. The online tools for your business do not need to be complicated and overwhelming. It's time to let it be easy. I hope that you liked that video, and more importantly, that you found it helpful. And if you did, I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel and sharing it with a fellow solopreneur. And make sure that you check out the description for links for how we can connect and maybe even work together.